1951, Richard Dorer, supervisor of game in the Conservation Department and an Isaac Walton member, proposed a bold plan to halt the destruction of wetlands. Alarmed by the impact of drainage on future supplies of clean water and wildlife populations, Dorer proposed spending $10 million to purchase 200,000 acres of the state's remaining 800,000 acres of wetlands from willing sellers. Dorer faced strong opposition from agricultural officials and from within the Conservation Department. He launched a statewide speaking campaign, and he enlisted the support of Isaac Walton League chapters and other conservation groups to build public support for the Save Our Wetlands campaign. The Ikes sold Save Our Wetlands buttons for $1 at the Northwest Sportsman Show and at the Minnesota State Fair. They gave the proceeds to the state to buy wetlands. In the early years, the program started off very slowly. So the Ikes sent letters, telegrams, and resolutions to the legislators to support passage of a surcharge on small game hunting licenses to fund the state purchase of wetlands. John Idstrom is a retired DNR wildlife biologist and manager who evaluated and acquired wetlands for nearly 40 years in southern Minnesota.
So there was a big push at that time to drain the wetlands. This was financed by the federal government. Dick Dorer could see that, and so that's why he made the push that he did to save them. We restored the wetlands that were in danger of being drained, and some of them turned out to be just absolutely excellent for waterfowl nesting. Oh, it makes me feel real good to see these wetlands, and then real bad to see the ones that were actually drained out.
With a new funding source, the Save Our Wetlands program really took off, and they acquired wetlands and wildlife habitat and uplands and areas called wildlife management areas, WMAs. Kim Hennings is a wildlife biologist and manager who has served for over 30 years in evaluating and acquiring wildlife management areas.
It started off as a very modest program, of course, and funding was very limited. Initially, it was just contributions from donor groups and so forth. And then it expanded in 1957 to where we got the surcharge on the small game hunting license. And then in 1975, there was a big push under Resource 2000 program where we got appropriations from state bonding dollars, which really allowed us to expand our acquisition. Well, the Ikes were involved in the very beginning of this program. They lobbied for support and funding for the program initially in the early 50s. In fact, one of the first wildlife areas we bought was 80 acres we bought from the Ikes in Wabasha County for $1. It's the Isaac Walton League Wildlife Management Area. But since then, they've contributed over $185,000 in cash and land since 1986.
Tom Landwehr succeeded John Idstrom as a wildlife manager when John retired in 1989.
Here in Minnesota, we're extraordinarily fortunate that back in the late 40s, early 50s, the Isaac Walton League and conservation community collectively said, you know what, we're losing wetlands and we need to start saving them. Out of that initiative was born a program called the Save the Wetlands program. In 1951, the state started acquiring wetlands and saving them for the conservation values. Today, that is our wildlife management area system. We now have about 1.4 million acres in the wildlife management area system. Truly a national model. You know, over the years, Isaac Walton League has also done tremendous service to educate the people of Minnesota through such activities as the Wetlands Summit and the Duck Rally of the mid-2000s. That education has also been turned into action by citizens of Minnesota voting for the Clean Water Land and Legacy Amendment in 2008. Isaac Walton League was very supportive in rallying people to vote for that amendment that now is going to allow us to leave a true conservation gift for future generations of Minnesota in terms of habitat, clean water, and places to recreate.